like for you to give us a brief overview of what automatic writing is and how Jan channeled these books from the high universe.
Yes, absolutely. It would be a pleasure. Automatic writing is when a discarnate soul from the universe that used to live on Earth and is now living in the universe takes over your writing arm and writes in their writing, not in your writing. It's a process that is done through thought, the thought projection where they can remember how they wrote when they were on Earth, and of course with their high knowledge from the universe they can write in any language. And they would just write, and the writing would come through, and if another teacher came in and changed, the writing would change. It would be their writing, that teacher's writing, not my sister's writing at all. And during the process, we would look down on the page and she would say, oh, you wouldn't believe what they wrote. And the answers of all the questions and everything that was brought through in such a manner that we were learning through the process as we're going along and getting answers to things that were so common sense in sorting them out in your mind that it said, wow, this is really something. Wow, we kept saying. And I've heard that from many people today who have read the books. They say, wow. The information that was brought was to get us to receive the truth. We have now grown and progressed as far as our growing pattern in evolution as a human that can really open its mind and accept the truth of the way life is and always has been. So the information in these books that was were brought to bring the truth for the first time to the earth. For those that wish to open their mind, think for themselves, and make their decisions of whether they should change their life, live differently, and follow what wisdom in the messages that were brought. And messages to get us to change our ways, put an end to greed, selfishness, and corruption on this earth.
And could you tell us a little bit more specific things about those messages, like our purpose in life and how to make progress and what the high souls are saying they want specifically to be done on the earth?
Yes, certainly. These great high teachers and then eventually master directors who came through my sister's writing decided that we need to know, to begin with, that we have a guide. And the guide is on our right side. We've always had a guide right through birth. And the guide is our conscience. And it teaches us or gives us the thought of whether it's right or wrong, we should go or not go, do or not do something. We are always given a warning when we're not to do the right, when we're going to do the wrong thing, so we don't make that mistake and choose that action. Doesn't mean that everyone listens. Many do, and others do not, and therefore they have to learn from the consequences of their actions and make progress from that and say, I'm not going to do that anymore. I just don't like it. It doesn't make me feel good. So all these wonderful messages are the purpose of life, knowing that you are never alone here in life. You have a guide with you all the time. And it's telling you that we have to stop believing outside of ourselves and start believing from within ourselves and really believe in ourselves, love ourselves, and live in love through love in all things that we do. And that's what we are all here to learn. And as we're learning, we're correcting mistakes from our past lives. Mistakes that maybe we made the wrong choices. And now we have to learn to get on the right track and make the right choices. That's just what it is. This is called the learning planet, the planet Earth.
Is there anything else that you can tell us that stands out in the books more than other things to you, and in terms of importance as far as where we are at right now in our Earth? And you say in the books that, or the high teachers rather say that they want an end to all greed, selfishness, and corruption, and that many disasters are caused because of man's negativity and greed and selfishness and corruption. And so could you tell us about the high holy comet ship that's supposed to be coming, and the purpose of it, and what we could do to change?
Absolutely. They are sending to Earth a comet ship, which is presently here right now, circling our Earth and giving it the healing energies, which is in a lime green color. You're going to see a lot of lime green. You're going to see everything coming out green, green, green all over the world. And those that have their third eye open enough will actually see the flashes of green of the comet as it circles the Earth, to open our minds for us to change our attitudes and to change our ways, and definitely stop living in the negative way, in the corrupt way of life. The way the universe always has brought these messages to us is when the negative energy of too much corruption in a particular area, or in an area where there are souls that are not listening, not making any progress, not getting on with their life, not correcting their mistakes, they have to release that energy by returning it to the Earth, where it is sent from to begin with, in areas that see these terrible disasters. And that's a cleansing process, to shake them up, wake up, and start living from within yourself and not without yourself, outside of yourself. Stop believing in everything that you have heard in the past, and now start believing that you have the source of all, the God energy, if you will, the force, the power within you, which is your very own soul in your heart, and it's coming from you, through you, all the time, with your own expression, whether it be in a creative manner or a destructive manner. You are using the power within yourself to teach yourself, to learn, to change. And that's what we're looking for now all over the world, everything to change. I think there will be great changes with our new President of the United States, and the universe looks up to the United States to change the entire world, because everyone seems to follow what happens in America, East and West. You have to speak when you're taking that. Explain what you're taking.
Here are the books. The first book by Jan Adler and Ron Oberon, Our Earth and Beyond. The second book is Many Planes Above.
It's not half as fast as some people's.
Okay, we're recording.
I'm recording my chest.
Yes, I've got you in there. Okay.
My whole face, everything?
I'm here I'm in the Divine Light of the Rays, the healing center. Everyone and anyone is welcome to come get a healing anytime. Ron helps many people with depression, anxiety, and just going within themselves and understanding why we're here, what our true purpose is in life. And he is going to tell us a little bit about himself today and give us an overview of the two wonderful books I showed you earlier. And he's going to tell us what automatic writing is, how his sister channeled these messages, and how he has ended up in this place that he is in his life today, helping many people and trying very hard to get this message across. So, Ron, could you tell us who your sister Jan was and how she was able to channel these messages from the high teachers of the universe, who are individual souls just as real as you and I? Could you please explain that to us?
Absolutely. First of all, you have to understand that everyone who has ever lived on this earth, all through history, is still alive. There is no such thing as death. There is only the losing of a physical body, and we continue as a soul being in the universe. Now, we may not be in a high universe by any means. We may not have made a lot of progress in order to reach higher levels of the universe. However, we also could be in a place of darkness where we've not made any progress whatsoever, and that's all we've earned. There's a place of darkness. We see nothing until we decide to get on the right path and make our progress. Most people who pass, when they pass over, land on the astral plane. Astral plane is the first plane around the earth. In order to get to the astral plane, you have to go with your guide. Your guide is on your right side, and the guide takes you through a tunnel with light at the end of the tunnel, and to the light. When you reach the light, there will be teachers there that say, okay, you went to Earth and agreed to do this, that, and with whatever else. How much did you do, or what did you do? Also could be in a place of darkness where we've not made any progress whatsoever, and that's all we've earned. There's a place of darkness. We see nothing until we decide to get on the right path and make our progress. Most people who pass, when they pass over, land on the astral plane. Astral plane is the first plane around the earth. In order to get to the astral plane, you have to go with your guide. Your guide is on your right side, and the guide takes you through a tunnel with light at the end of the tunnel, and to the light. When you reach the light, there will be teachers there that say, okay, you went to earth and agreed to do this, that, and with whatever else. How much did you do, or what did you do? And they already know what you've done, but they asked you to say it, and you can see at that time your whole life and all the purpose of everything that has happened. And you say, oh yes, I was supposed to take care of that, but I didn't get that done. Oh, and that too, I didn't get that done. Oh, and it goes on like this till you see all the mistakes that you've made that you've not corrected. And most of those mistakes can even be carried from previous lives before the life, this present life on earth. So what you need to do is go to work. So they will say to you, now go with this teacher, and they will tell you what you need to do to continue your work here in the universe. Some of the reactions that are given by people at that time are souls, because they really don't understand about life after death and what happens, where they're going, what it's like, what they're supposed to do, all those kind of things, will make the soul respond and say, I'm not working anymore. I'm retired. I've been retired for years. I don't work anymore. I do nothing. I just take it easy. That's fine, but now you have to work. If you refuse to work, they just say, sit over there till we have time for you. And they place you in a gray area below the astral plane. They do not let you through to the light. You're standing in the light right now, and you automatically lose that light and go back into the gray area. If you've done a lot of terrible things in your life, you will go further down into darkness. And it's a long corridor of darkness where you sit. You've created this place for yourself in this darkness because you've never created anything else good in your life. And you'll sit there until you're ready to get on with your lessons and decide to start to work in the universe. If you say, okay, tell me what to do, show me what to do, and you get to work, you start your work right away, immediately. There is no resting, no period of adjustment unless it is absolutely necessary. Due to shock or some other terrible way that you left the earth plane, they will give a certain period of time to help you to get over that shock before you can even understand.
Can you tell us, Ron, about that work and the different dimensions, starting with that gray area to the astral plane and on, of how you would end up after death in terms of what you've earned and how that is earned, and what one can expect after death, and the different planes of progress. Basically, could you explain that?
Oh, sure. You can go on and on with this, very much so. The astral plane, being the lowest plane, is made up of about 25 levels, and if you haven't made that much progress, you would start from the lowest part of the astral plane. What kind of work are you doing? You now begin to work for souls, helping souls. You are assigned to souls that have the same lessons that you have to learn and to help them along, and as you help them learn, you learn and you correct your mistakes, and that's how you release your lessons. If you are not willing to work and put in the gray area, it's very cold and it's very damp. There have been many near-death experiences where the universe has showed many people all through history that what it's like there, and they say they're in this gray area, and it's very cold and damp, but it's just gray. There's a little bit of light. It's like dusk, just the start of the day where the sun has not come up yet. And they'd have to work through that gray area, keep going and going and going, however long it may take. First of all, I must explain there is no time in the universe. There is only the purpose to graduate and progress your own soul. And if you have to take 1,000 years to do this, it doesn't matter. There is no time. It just keeps going on and on. In the astral plane, if you are a working soul helping other souls, the minute you start to work, you are given the permission you've earned that permission at that point, to help earth souls that you didn't help when you were here on earth. You kind of overcome that, or you shunned it away and you've avoided it. In many cases, it's connected to family. Families are put together to learn to get along with one another. and to correct mistakes from previous lives. They've all been connected in a past life, and now they're back together in this life, in different roles. But at the same token, these families have to learn how to get along. There are so many souls in the astral plane today that have passed on that are still avoiding dealing with their family. They just can't deal with it. It's one of those things. So therefore they work with other souls that they don't know, and they're offered ways that they can help. It's souls helping souls. You know, while we're on Earth, it's supposed to be people helping people, not people annihilating people. It's supposed to be people helping people, which is a soul within each one's heart. Everyone is an individual, and we have to learn all how we can get along together. In the universe, there is no difference. It's just the soul and what the soul has earned. And if the soul has earned a level of progress on a higher level, maybe say the 5th level of the astral plane, they've got a lot of activity going on, and they're helping so many souls, probably aunts, uncles, cousins, friends, everyone in the family that is still...
How would they help them, Ron?
They help them to explain that there's better and greater things going on higher in the universe than where they're at, and they must keep working to undo and correct these mistakes so they can move on. Let go of this and move on higher and move on higher. And it's a long, drawn-out process. Some people say a very slow process if it takes you maybe 1,000 or 1,500 years just to get through the astral plane.
Tell us about that work, though, Ron, in terms of, in a literal sense. Give me an example of a soul from the universe helping a soul on Earth and how that progress is made and where they would move on to after that.
The first thing that is connected with every process of teaching from the universe that is teaching the soul how to make progress is teaching them the things that they have not done when they were on Earth and correcting that. If it's connected to family, it's going to be family saying, well, I didn't do too well by my children, and I must really help them now to overcome so many different things that I may have been the cause of way back when for not teaching. So they're working with them, trying to get them on the right track of their lessons so they can purposely make progress. And as the reward of receiving progress is the greatest gift once they feel that inside. Now, you've got to understand, when they're trying to communicate with Earth, we here on Earth are not aware of that. So we many times do not hear, or we don't listen. Maybe choose not to listen. We get little thoughts and little ideas in our minds, and we don't necessarily follow them. But they'll keep coming back, and they'll keep coming back, and finally you'll say, well, maybe I've been thinking about that for several years now. Maybe I think I'll do something about it. And that's the way it works. They're constantly helping you. If they come to help you, the first thing they must do is get permission from your guide in order to help you. The guide is your protector, and he's watching over you. So he is very careful, or she. There's no male or female in the universe. It's just a soul that has been assigned to you. Many times they come and they're like an Indian or some ancient warrior that is a guide to you now that is really strong and can help and protect you. And they have to stay with you your whole life. So every bit of lessons that you have to learn, the soul on Earth, the guide has to learn the same. They are only one step higher than you to pull you up a little higher and pull you up a little higher. As you go a little higher, they go a little higher. And they're making progress already on this Earth. You can make enough progress on the Earth that you can skip all the lower planes and land up to the 50th level of the universe, which is very high up.
Well, Ron, what I wanted to ask is, because I have a cousin who's in the universe, and I feel his presence, and I do this work with you, so I understand it. But for people who don't, I just want to make it as clear as possible from my own experience in that I will see something with his name on it, and as I'm thinking of him, he impresses me. I'll hear his voice, or I will see something that had a sentimental value to the both of us, and it's at a time that I'm asking for his help, or I'm wondering how he's doing. So I was more curious as to how we could explain to people how they are able to impress you through the thought world.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's very true. You receive very well. That's exactly how they get through. Before they reach the light, because of their own fear of the unknown, they have never searched anywhere in their life about the life hereafter, what they're going to do, and so forth. This is why the universe is bringing this information to us now, so that we can understand this is the way it is, and listen and follow through. So they pull back to earth. Many of them will cling to the situation that happened when they passed over. They don't even know they passed over, because now all of a sudden they just don't feel anything, but they still know they are themselves, the real thing. They still are. And they can't understand. They even, when they stand over their body and see it laying there after a tragic accident or a car accident or a shooting or whatever, and they're laying, looking at it, they just don't understand why they're here and their body's there. They don't understand what happened because it happened so fast. When these things happen fast, this is something that no one is prepared for. You cannot prepare for that unless you just know that there's something out there. Now, the wonderful shows on television, Ghost Whisperers and some of those shows that talk about ghosts and so, they're talking to these earthbound souls all the time. And that's the whole purpose, trying to get that message across, that they're very real. And they're trying to get them to move on and go on to the light, let go of what they're supposed to do here now and move on and make progress. Well, the earthbound soul, in most cases, let's take a murderer. That's always a good example. A murderer is a soul who is surrounded by so much negativity, so many, all negativity is just earthbound souls, so many of these earthbound souls that think the same as they think. According to their thinking is how they've attracted it to them. And many of them, when they're analyzed and they're, you know, why did you do this and so forth, ask these questions, they come across and say, I don't know, I just heard this voice, told me I had to do it. Another one would say, God told me to do it. It's a good place. Blame everything on God. We always do. God never destroys what he creates. It's just not that way.
Briefly tell us why and what God is. That's something that we didn't cover.
God is a force. It's an energy that is around all and everything in all life. It is all life and all that is. There is no separation of God and state, as you will. God is always there for everyone at all times. It's a force, it's a power, it's an energy source. The actual soul within your heart, that little light spark of energy, is the heart of God that can never be destroyed. You can never destroy God in any way you may think. It's impossible. All the life force is surrounded with this force. All in nature, the very air we breathe, has so many life particles in it, we breathe it in every day. The male breathes in what they need, the female breathes in what they need, whether it be human, animal, or vegetal, or tree, or plant, or whatever. Everything is part of the whole. Every grain of sand, every drop of water in the ocean, every bit of the universe, every planet, everything that we see everywhere is God. And it takes all of that to comprise what God is. It is everything. And it's ever giving and is never taking. We're the ones that choose by ourselves to choose our ways. And that is a free choice given to you. It's a God-given free choice to do as you wish. Go out and find out, to learn. How else are you going to learn? How are you going to know the difference between hot and cold until you experience it?
And so can you tell us a little bit about the difference between light and dark? Because if everything is a part of God, then that means darkness is a part of God as well.
Exactly.
So tell us about that difference, because it's such a major difference.
Well, the darkness is nothing, as I said, all negativity and all darkness is nothing but earthbound souls. The entire earth is surrounded in darkness. All that darkness is earthbound souls from all through history that have not made progress. In fact, that's the explanation for our black holes. The black hole is created by the universe to bring souls into so they can't come back to earth. Once you get in a black hole, you can't get out. And they put you in there. Our scientists know that. They've discovered these black holes. And they understand that once some material of any kind gets in there, it'll never escape.
But they don't realize that it's actually souls sitting there in a prison, sort of.
They're covered in darkness. That keeps making more and more darkness. When the soul is full, the hole is filled. And I've asked how many souls, because the universe always said, Ron, you and your numbers. We don't deal with numbers in the universe. It's just millions and millions. It's countless number of souls. When it's full, we make another hole. And we keep putting them in. And in the past, they didn't have that many black holes. It was just the darkness. And a lot of these souls, out of the law of average, because they're smart, doesn't mean they're stupid souls. They're smart. They in their thought pattern, can pull themselves back to earth, and they come back to earth from the darkness. And even they bring other souls with them. Even though the other souls may not have been bad souls in any way, but it's better to go with this guy who's coming back to
But
Earth.
they weren't listening, because if they were listening, they wouldn't be in the darkness, and they're willing to work, they wouldn't be in the darkness. And also the soul that's sitting in the darkness too, I think it's important to tell people, is that the reason they're there so that I am here with Ron J. Oberon, co-author of Our Earth and Beyond and Many Planes Above. Ron's going to tell us today about these books and the information in them, and also his co-author, his sister, Jan Adler. And we're going to show you a picture right now, Jan. That's Jan. And get a little closer shot up on that, Ron. There we go. I'll show you that. And this is her brother, Ron Oberon. Okay. Ron, let me get one closer shot of the books. Okay. And I also want to show our audience another picture, a more clear picture of Jan. There's Jan. Okay. Oh, she looks great in that picture. Okay. So, Ron, I'd like for you to give us a brief overview of what automatic writing is and how Jan channeled these books from the high universe.
Yes, absolutely. It'd be a pleasure. Automatic writing is when a discarnate soul from the universe that used to live on Earth and is now living in the universe takes over your writing arm and writes in their writing, not in your writing. It's a process that is done through thought, the thought projection, where they can remember how they wrote when they were on Earth, and of course with their high knowledge from the universe they can write in any language. And they would just write, and the writing would come through, and if another teacher came in and changed, the writing would change. It would be their writing, that teacher's writing, not my sister's writing at all. And during the process, we would look down on the page and she would say, oh, you wouldn't believe what they wrote. And the answers of all the questions and everything that was brought through in such a manner that we were learning through the process as we're going along and getting answers to things that were so common sense in sorting them out in your mind that it said, wow, this is really something. Wow, we kept saying. And I've heard that from many people today who have read the books. They say, wow. The information that was brought was to get us to receive the truth. We have now grown and progressed as far as our growing pattern in evolution as a human that can really open its mind and accept the truth of the way life is and always has been. So the information in these books that was were brought to bring the truth for the first time to the earth. For those that wish to open their mind, think for themselves, and make their decisions of whether they should change their life, live differently, and follow what wisdom in the messages that were brought. They were messages to get us to change our ways, put an end to greed, selfishness, and corruption on this earth.
And could you tell us a little bit more specific things about those messages, like our purpose in life and how to make progress, and what the high souls are saying they want specifically to be done on the earth?
Yes, certainly. These great high teachers and then eventually master directors who came through my sister's writing decided that we need to know, to begin with, that we have a guide. And the guide is on our right side. We've always had a guide right through birth.